Senhoras e senhores, muito bom dia a todos e sejam todos bem-vindos. Estamos ao vivo agora na cidade de Curitiba, falando direto do estúdio do Grupo FRG Mídias e Eventos. Só confirmando a hora certa, agora na capital paranaense, são 10 horas mais 21 minutos. Antes de darmos continuidade ao nosso debate, temos algumas informações aos participantes que estão nos acompanhando nesta verdadeira maratona da informação e network, que iniciou ontem e encerra hoje. Neste ano, o Fórum Valorização Energética de Resíduos está sendo realizado em edição especial 100% online. Nós lembramos ainda aos amigos internautas que estão nos acompanhando que vocês podem acessar todo o nosso conteúdo no canal do YouTube do Grupo FRG. Basta acessar o YouTube e se inscrever no canal Grupo FRG. Você ainda, amigo internauta, poderá interagir durante as nossas transmissões no nosso chat que está aqui ao lado. Abaixo do chat, basta você clicar no banner e ir diretamente para a nossa feira virtual do evento. Ali você vai encontrar o stand dos nossos patrocinadores e ainda poderá conversar diretamente com um especialista através do WhatsApp de cada empresa que estará disponível durante todo este evento. Bom, dados os recados iniciais, nós teremos na sequência o debate com o tema Circular Economy in the Context of Energy from Waste. Quero apresentar aqui os nossos participantes. Senhor Roland Gray, que está falando direto de Zurique, na Suíça. Ele é gerente sênior de vendas na HZI. Senhor Peter Kurt, que está em Berlim, na Alemanha, presidente da FEAD-BDE Alemanha. Senhor Reda M. Cabage, ele reside em Montreal, no Canadá, mas hoje, neste evento, está falando direto de Casablanca, no Marrocos. Ele que é Chair of the Waste Energy Canada. Senhor André Chernobilski, que está em São Paulo, capital, CEO da ZEG Ambiental. E senhor Joseph Imp, está em Graz, na Áustria. Ele é da Tanaoi e Máquina Solo. O moderador deste debate será o senhor Flávio Matos, conselheiro da ABREN e coordenador da Waste Energy Brasil, que está falando direto de Paris, na França. Feitas as apresentações, eu passo a palavra para você conduzir o debate. Flávio, bom dia, seja bem-vindo.
Muitíssimo bom dia, PC, obrigado pela introdução. Antes de mais nada, eu gostaria de dizer que é uma grande honra estar moderando esse painel internacional sobre um tema tão importante, com a participação ilustre aí do Roland, do Peter, do Reda, do Chernobilski e do Joseph. Agradecemos aí a todos aí a participação nesse evento. Vou iniciar com uma primeira pergunta. Roland, Peter, Reda, André, and Joseph. So we're just doing some introduction. So I'd like to thank you very much. It's a real honor to be here with you in the second day of ABREN's Forum of Energy Recovery from Waste. So I'll start with the first question with Roland. I'll start in Portuguese, then I will ask you again in English, Roland. Na sua área de atuação, Roland, como as usinas Waste to Energy podem contribuir para a economia circular? So in your area of operation, Roland, how can waste to energy plants contribute to the circular economy?
Ok. Primeiro, bom dia a todos. Prazer para participar. Já entendi a pergunta em português já. But I will respond in English. So, well, I think it will be a part of the circular economy. I mean, there will never be a perfect circular economy. And something like a zero waste place is unfortunately a utopia. So there will also always be a need for benefit from that material that cannot be recycled to be used. So we recover with our thermal solution the energy, use the energy, and also recover material that cannot be recovered upfront. So it's part of the circular economy. And of our anaerobic digestion solution anyway, I mean, there we recover the material used as fertilizer and use the energy content to produce new things, new products, which we unfortunately are using too much. So, I mean, I'm convinced that we should, of course, change a little bit our behavior and produce less waste, and think a little bit about what we are consuming and how we are consuming. But waste to energy and orbit adjustment, the solution that we can provide will be part of the circular economy.
Great, thank you very much, Roland. Só para fazer um breve resumo dos comentários do Roland. Então, o Roland comenta que que é uma utopia, né, pensar que que a gente vai acabar com todos os resíduos, né? Então, o Waste to Energy ele é um pilar fundamental dentro de um sistema de gestão de resíduos para permitir a recuperação de minerais, de metais, de matérias primárias e permitir o desvio de aterros, né? Para minimizar a quantidade de resíduos que vão para aterro. A gente sabe bem que a reciclagem tem suas limitações, né? Então, mais ou menos resumindo é isso. Acho que a mensagem a passar é que a gente não vai conseguir atingir metas de desvio de aterro sem ter o Waste to Energy dentro de um sistema de gestão de resíduos. Our second friend to reply would be Peter Kurf. So it would be the same question for you, Peter. So it's a bit different in your context, but how do you see waste to energy plants contributing to a circular economy? I know you are quite involved in these taxonomy discussions in Europe, so it would be very nice to learn from you how you are seeing these waste to energy and how you're defending waste to energy in this context of circular economy.
Thank you for this interesting question. We will always have materials, we will always have waste streams which can't be recycled. And for those materials, we need a solution for treatment. We have two options. The one is landfilling, the other is waste to energy. And landfilling is the worst solution the waste management policy knows. That's the reason why in our European waste hierarchy, disposal and also incineration without winning energy are the lowest level, and waste to energy is the fourth level. That means whatever can be recycled should be recycled. We need more efforts to increase our recycling successes. In Germany, we have 420 million tons of waste each year, and we have waste to energy capacity for 25 million. That means 6% of our waste goes to waste to energy. I think this is not only acceptable, this is the best solution for those materials which we don't want to recycle and we are not able to recycle. Let's take all the medicine waste from the hygienic sources, etc., etc. There will be materials, this is my result, there will be materials which are not able to recycle. For those materials, we need a solution. Waste to energy is the best we know.
Great, thank you very much, Peter. So, resumindo os comentários do Peter, que é um grande conhecedor do assunto da legislação europeia, trabalha ativamente por uma melhoria na questão da gestão dos resíduos na Europa. A conclusão do Peter é que existem sempre materiais que, de fato, não podem ser recicláveis, né? O que fazer com esses materiais? Enviá-los ao aterro ou para a recuperação energética, né? Se a gente respeitar a hierarquia de gestão de resíduos, o aterro é a pior opção, conforme o Peter ressaltou. Então, claramente, o Waste to Energy está acima na hierarquia de gestão de resíduos e ele é prioritário como solução para os resíduos não recicláveis, né? Então, temos sempre que aumentar a reciclagem, aumentar a coleta seletiva, mas para tudo aquilo que é fração residual, que poderia ir para aterro, nós temos que implementar o Waste to Energy, que, segundo o Peter, é a melhor solução para a fração residual dos resíduos sólidos urbanos. Thank you very much, Peter. So, Reda, so we'd like to hear from you now. So, in your context of operation, how do you see energy plants contributing to the circular economy, please?
Well, it is important. A city without waste energy, there is something missing. And I could also add that transitioning from a linear to circular economy start with implementing new approaches and technologies. Technology is very important, such as waste to energy, that create economic opportunities out of the materials we made otherwise throw away in a landfill, unfortunately. And I want to add also that, as Roland said, that zero waste, it doesn't exist anywhere in the world. It's a waste of time going on this, because we need the technology. So obviously, circular economy, I could say that, is a new way of doing business in order to extract as maximum of much of value possible from resources, because I don't want to use the term of waste, because they are resources, by recycling, repairing, all the refusing, and after all possible ways, after post recycling waste, the materials left, they could go to a facility that they will be burned to produce energy, to power homes, economies, and industries. As we mentioned, the plant in Quebec that powered the hospital, and obviously the waste energy plant in Quebec is using Varol, the technology, the mass burn, Varol, the Hitachi. So also, in order to succeed, we need to rethink about the potential value of materials and product before they become waste, and to move toward a sustainable way. And apart from Morocco, where we also have the WTRT organization there, the idea is that waste to energy could help supporting the Moroccan strategy and vision to raise its renewables to 52% toward 2030. And also it will help the country to reduce and support its energy security, since they import more than 90% of energy abroad. So, it is important because there is a lot of waste. As you know, Africa is growing. There is a rapid urbanization of cities, and there is a growing middle class. So there is a huge amount of waste. And one important thing that it saves lands. Waste to energy saves lands. And one thing that we need to point out, that 60% of the world arable lands are in Africa. So we need to save our lands, and the best way is to waste to energy.
Thank you very much, Reda. Então, resumindo em curtas palavras a colocação do Reda, ele menciona que a transição linear de uma economia linear para uma economia circular necessita imperativamente de novas tecnologias, né? A utopia do lixo zero, como também já mencionado pelo nosso amigo Roland, e estou bastante de acordo, ela não existe, né? Sempre haverá resíduos que vão necessitar de uma destinação, que ela não seja o aterro, visando minimizar esse envio para o aterro e recuperar recursos materiais. O Waste to Energy é a melhor solução. Então, nosso amigo Reda, ele ressalta, inclusive, que o Waste to Energy salva vidas. É isso aí, Reda. Thank you very much, Reda. So we'll now go to Andrea Chernobilski. Could you please let us know your thoughts on the how can waste-to-energy plants contribute to the circular economy?
Thank you, Flavio, for the question. It's an honor for me to be in an international panel with among experts in developed countries. Since ZEG was created almost 10 years ago, our base foundation was always innovation and technology. In Brazil, as I already explained, we have thousands of municipalities with less than 100,000 inhabitants, which do not allow mass burning plants. So we went in a technical path, and we developed a small footprint waste-to-energy solution. In my opinion, and actually it's not only in my opinion, it's based on the numbers we learned abroad, the only possible solution to promote circular economy is only through waste-to-energy solutions. If we take the example of waste characterization, the composition of the waste, mostly in underdeveloped countries, you will see a great fraction of organic matter in the waste composition. I know that people always tend to promote composting, creating the organic fraction to become a kind of a fertilizer. But in fact, this is not so good for the land, because the compost doesn't have all the nutrients that growing plantations need to apply on the lands. So in fact, getting compost on the lands is just a better way to landfill the organic fraction, in my opinion. And if we take the numbers from the developed countries, the indexes tell by themselves. Okay, so the most human developed index, the highest human developed index of the countries, for example, Austria, Germany, are from the countries that have the most waste to energy plants applied. The countries with the most recycling percentage are the ones with the most waste to energy plants applied. The ones with the best health diseases index are the ones with the most waste to energy applied. So at the end, if we follow the examples of the developed countries, we know for sure that waste to energy is the only engine to promote not only circular economy, because the recyclable material, we do not have, at least in Brazil, and I am sure some other countries as well, we do not have industry enough to absorb all the recyclables we can get out of the waste. So that's why, since when China closed the border for recyclables, several sorting plants and several recycling plants, even in the developed countries, are going broke, because they were used to export some recyclables to China, Africa, and it's not by coincidence that the plastic on the oceans are mostly coming from Africa and Asia. If you take the packages that are on the oceans, you will see that they are coming from Africa and Asia mostly. So at the end, the the only environmental solution. The only way we promote circular economy is only, in my opinion, through waste to energy technologies. And I mean technologies, any kind of technology we implement is better than what we have been doing so far. So we should be able to implement innovation technologies in order to avoid this kind of a linear economy or this hidden circular economy that we think we have today, to avoid climate change. We know that the landfills are responsible for the most greenhouse gases emissions, more than 10% of the greenhouse gases emissions in the world. So we do have a way, we do have a solution. And the only solution, in my opinion, again, is waste to energy.
Thank you very much, André. Very interesting view. Então, resumindo em português os comentários do André Chernobyski, da ZEG, ele acredita que a única solução que permitirá uma economia circular, efetivamente, seria através de tecnologias de recuperação energética, waste to energy. Ele comenta os problemas com relação à qualidade do composto oriundo de resíduos sólidos urbanos, né? Que dificulta a sua reutilização na agricultura, e também as grandes dificuldades em reciclagem a nível mundial. Citou o problema da China, que fechou as suas fronteiras para importação de materiais recicláveis, o problema na África, e, em geral, o problema dos resíduos também, plásticos para todos os lugares, né? Então, diante de todas essas dificuldades de valorização própria, correta do orgânico, e também de potencial de reciclagem de materiais de plástico, ele acredita e ressalta que a única solução que permitiria atingir-se aí uma economia circular seria waste to energy. Muito obrigado, André. So now we are going to speak with Joseph Impe from Tanaoi, Máquina Solo. Hello, Joseph. So in your opinion, how do you see waste to energy plants contributing to a circular economy? Please.
Hello to everybody and to the audience. I'm very happy and to have the chance to speak to you. Coming to your question, yeah. I see it in this way that there's no doubt about it that waste to energy plants are a very important part of a circular economy and bringing a lot of jobs, money, etc. Yeah, but in general, we experience that in Europe, and I have seen it worldwide and all over the countries I have been active there within the last 30 years, that waste in general, and this is what we need to understand, is a value. Yeah, and I think it's not a question either or. So if we go only for incineration, or we go for recycling, or for composting, or whatever, I think it depends very much on the situation, what we find locally in form of the different waste streams, and compared to that, the logistic. Yeah. So, or I give another example. When we look on the cement industry, which is quite big in Brazil, then they are going more and more to this alternative fuels out of waste materials. Otherwise, they would not even be able to produce cement for a competitive price. So in Europe, we are talking about 85 to 90% usage of this alternative fuels. So it's a very important part. And it's not only environmental green thinking, it's really an economical issue that we have to do that. Yeah. On the other hand, when you have established in your country source separating collection system that you get organics in a separate way, so which is quite clean, then it is proven even in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, etc., that composting can have a very positive influence as a fertilizer on the different soil things. I agree with Andre before, if you take only mixed waste, where you have all the stuff mixed in there, then this will be not high quality compost, or not easily. Then coming to recycling, there are a lot of materials which can make a lot of sense to recycle, because on one hand, they can have high calorific value, which can be used again for energy purposes, or you have on the end a market for this recycling products coming out of the waste stream. Yeah, think maybe not only on plastic, which is the biggest part at the moment discussed. Think on non-ferrous material. Think on metals. This is actual really for a reasonable price sold and part of the income for waste treatment companies. So what I would try to summarize is, for a circulating economy, you will have an intelligent system and waste treatment model, which is consisting on one part for sure, especially in big populated areas with waste to energy plants, plus alternative fuels production, even organic treatment, and having the right logistics in place. On the long run, we'll be sure that the usage of landfills will be minimized, but you have to think on the different statuses of landfill of waste treatment operations in the different countries. We are not all of us on the same level, and it's an economic issue. If you have a landfill for $15 in ton input as a gate fee, then it's very difficult to install other recycling processes, waste to energy processes. So this is a kind of development based on additional taxes and so on, and subsidies to get to a higher level. And as I said, in a circulated economy, I would see a consumption of these possibilities, what we find.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Então, traduzindo rapidamente, o Joseph menciona que Waste to Energy é uma importante parte da economia circular, e ele ressalta que, no entanto, as soluções técnicas dependem muito do contexto local, das características do resíduo que está sendo avaliado, e das características particulares dos projetos em si, né? O que é verdade, tem-se que conhecer bastante, cada projeto tem as suas particularidades, especialmente falando-se de resíduos sólidos, que variam tanto também de um local para outro. Então, muito importante conhecer essa composição dos resíduos também. Ele menciona o caso da Áustria, que consegue se atingir uma qualidade de composto a partir de resíduos urbanos de boa qualidade. No entanto, ele é oriundo de coleta seletiva, né? É importante ressaltar, a partir do momento que ele é misturado, complica muito a situação. E ele vê o futuro das plantas de recuperação energética nas grandes cidades, com diminuição dos aterros, e ressalta a necessidade de aumento dos preços de tratamento dos resíduos, né, em relação ao que se paga hoje, para permitir a viabilização da reciclagem e também de outros tipos de empreendimento de tratamento de resíduos. Agora eu vou passar para a segunda pergunta, então. So Roland, we'll start the second round of questions with you. What's your vision for the future for energy recovery in this also context of the circular economy?
Oh. Well, interesting question. I mean, my vision, well, I believe we will continue. I mean, we will continue delivering our solutions, which is not only the thermal solution, but also biological treatment for the organic waste, and anaerobic digestion, and the power to gas solution. And we will, of course, continue to improve those solutions as we have done over the last decades. So when you compare what we deliver today, I mean, it's not the same that what we have delivered 15, 20, 25 years ago. So we will continue to improve improve the performance, the efficiency of those solutions. And we will more and more implement solutions to recover more material from these waste energy plants. Currently, we're building a plant in Sweden where we recover salts from the flue gas treatment residues, and this salt goes back to the industry. We have solutions to recover very, let's say, fine particles, metal particles from the bottom ash. There you can find very valuable materials, even gold, not only in Switzerland, also in other places, because of the electronic waste which you'll find in the household waste. So we will continue in that direction. I mean, improving the efficiency, the performance of our solutions, and increase not only the energy recovery, also the material recovery from those solutions.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Roland. Então, resumindo, o Roland, que é da Itachi, uma empresa que já está aí há décadas e já forneceu centenas de sistemas de tratamento térmico de resíduos urbanos, tem uma larga experiência com o que significa o tempo nesse setor, né, Roland? Então, ele enxerga os próximos anos como uma continuidade do que ele já vem fazendo aí nas últimas décadas, fornecendo soluções para tratamento térmico e também tratamento biológico de resíduos orgânicos. E eles pretendem continuar melhorando a performance, a eficiência das suas plantas, seja ela energética, seja através da recuperação de materiais. Ele menciona a recuperação de sais do sistema de tratamento de gases que podem ser reciclados. Ele menciona a recuperação de metais das escórias, inclusive de metais valiosos, metais não ferrosos, que podem ser retirados do resíduo, até mesmo frações que chegam a partículas de ouro, né? Na Suíça realmente deve ter um pouco mais de ouro no lixo que no Brasil. A gente teve uma experiência particular sobre essa questão também da valorização de metais não ferrosos, mas é impressionante quanto metal valioso se consegue recuperar também do resíduo. Obviamente depende do que a gente põe no container, né? Mas excelente. Thank you very much, Roland. So now we're going again to Peter Kerf. So Peter, in your view, what's your vision for the future for energy recovery in this context of circular economy?
Thank you very much. We are discussing this issue very intensely in Brussels on the European level, more than in Germany. Why not in countries like Germany? Because we have since some years a legal permission of landfilling, so this solution was closed and waste to energy is accepted. On the European level, it's a little different. Because of what? Waste to energy plants produce CO2 emissions, and Europe wants to be on the way to a climate neutral continent, so we have to take a look on the CO2 problematic of waste to energy, and this is a challenge. There are some NGOs in Brussels which prefer, for example, landfilling to waste to energy, because they fear that if a plant is invested and is operating, it's very difficult to reduce the CO2 capacity then. So I think my vision is that we go on with research and innovations to handle with the CO2 emissions. We have a project, we will introduce it to the public the next weeks, where with the energy produced in the waste to energy plant, we create green energy. So we make the next step to what we call green energy with the with the results. Perhaps it's possible to make progress on the projects with carbon capture. So keep the CO2 emissions, for example, in the floor. But I think this is the most challenging point. How do we handle with the CO2 consequences of the waste to energy plants? That means we need to implement this problem in the climate policy, in the energy policy, keeping in mind that it's perhaps possible to reduce the capacity a little more if we, for example, would be able to reduce the household waste with those materials which can be recycled. It's possible to reduce a little bit the capacity on the long run. We expect this year one new plant, completely new plant, opened. In Germany, we have now 72 plants, but the last 10 years there was only one additional plant. That means I think we have more or less the capacity limit for those activities with our 72 plants. And on the long run, the elder plants will leave the market, I think. But I come back to what I mentioned before. The biggest challenge is to introduce waste to implement waste to energy in the climate and energy policy mix.
Okay. Well, I need to make a comment, if you allow me, Peter, and I would like to know your view on that, because as you mentioned, CO2 emissions, well, looking at the CO2 emissions itself, only the emissions is not, as you well know, we have to look at the baseline, what's happening in the baseline situation, right? So when you see landfills, especially without methane capture, so we know there is actually an avoidance of CO2 emissions in the end when we implement such a project. Of course, the Europe context is much different from developing countries because, as you well said, in Germany you have 72 plants, so it's about the capacity of incineration that you may reach in Germany. So you have any comment on that, on this balance of emissions, because that's what matters in the end, right?
You are right. You don't have to convince me. Waste to energy is much better, especially for the emission reason. But if we bring 24 million tons of waste in our waste to energy plants, we will have a little more than 20 million tons of CO2 emissions. And if you talk with the society and the politics, what will be the CO2 emissions which we can accept in 2030, 2040, you can't leave the waste to energy out of it. Yeah, you know, for example, at the end of, I think, 2040, we would like to have only 150 million tons of CO2 emissions in Germany. If we would keep the same level we have today, that would mean a sixth part of the emissions only come from waste to energy. This is something even me is not really able to accept, and so we need more efforts how we handle with the CO2 emissions. Do we bring forward the carbon capture projects, the green energy projects? My vision, that was the question, is waste to energy will be a part of a, let's say, greener energy and climate mix with probably a little reduce of the capacity and the volume, but still a part of an established circular economy.
Thank you very much, Peter. Much appreciated your valuable view on this subject, very important subject. Traduzindo resumidamente, o Peter comentou que no caso da Alemanha, os aterros foram simplesmente fechados e foram implementadas dezenas de usinas waste to energy, isso simplesmente é aceito, e que na Europa hoje as discussões estão bastante centradas nas questões de emissões de CO2, né? É um grande desafio, muitas políticas hoje em torno dessa questão de emissão de CO2. Então, muita pesquisa e inovação ainda precisa ser desenvolvida, né? Principalmente nessa parte de captura e armazenamento de carbono, né? O Carbon Capture Storage. Ele menciona também a capacidade de incineração na Alemanha, que ele acredita ter atingido seu limite com essas 72 plantas, né? E que futuramente as plantas antigas venham a ser desmontadas, sempre lembrando que a tendência, assim como na França tinha mais de 130 usinas, a tendência é que as plantas antigas vão sendo desmontadas e plantas novas de maior porte acabam substituindo essas plantas menores, né? Que é o que está acontecendo hoje na França, principalmente. E ele menciona, então, comentei essa questão das emissões, olhando isoladamente só a questão da emissão, que não é justo, porque a gente tem que comparar com a situação atual, né? Então, quando a gente tem um aterro, principalmente sem captura de metano no contexto atual, apesar de você colocar uma planta de incineração, obviamente ela tem as suas emissões da própria planta, mas o que ela está evitando de emissões através do aterro é bastante superior. Então, essa é uma das grandes vantagens, inclusive, da tecnologia. Então, acho que é isso. Thank you very much, Peter. So we are going to ask now Reda. Reda, so what's your vision for the future of energy recovery in this context of circular economy?
Well, it has a future. I mean, and I could say that waste to energy will play a critical role in Canada's plan to reach the net zero emission in 2015. For example, the fact says that the transportation and the landfills, the waste, account for 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions in Canada. Therefore, a waste to energy could eventually produce hydrogen to power the trucks, the waste trucks, that collect the waste, that bring them to the waste to energy facility, that they could be powered by the hydrogen. And we could cut off a lot of emissions from the transportation cost, and also for the emissions. And I could say it's something that we need to invest, despite the fact that, for example, in Quebec, where we are, landfilling is cheap, honestly, and there is massive lands. However, it's not a sustainable way, because we want energy to power our economy, and there is a shifting. We want to shift from the fossil fuel to a new sort of energy, and waste energy could play an important role, as I mentioned, to produce some new sort of energy as it were. And also in another context, for a developing country like Morocco, the country is facing drought. There is not a lot of water on the ground, and due to the climate change, which is a real fact, there is a drought, and people need water, and the only way to do it is to build desalination. And as you know, that desalination plant consume a lot of energy, and we need to think about how we power these facilities. Through fossil fuel, it is not good. It's gonna the fossil fuels the price is going up, and the price to produce the water will be so high. So instead, we need to build a waste energy facility that will burn the waste to power these facilities. Because if we don't build these facilities, I think in the next year, we're gonna talk about climate change refugees, that people, they're gonna be massive displacement of population because there is no water. And this is a fact. And we need to act now. There is no more time to waste. It's not a joke, because climate change is real, and we need to take proper technologies to go beyond this issue. And I believe that, you know, waste energy has a future, and it's, I could say, mandatory now. It's not, you know, an option. It's mandatory now. And I believe that, you know, we need to follow the science and technology rather than enfolded, you know, ideas or beliefs, you know.
Great, thank you very much, Red. Very interesting. On the hydrogen side, also for the fuels for trucks, well, could also just produce electricity directly for the trucks. That's also an option. But yeah, hydrogen is something is booming now. Let's see what the futures brings on the hydrogen side. On desalination, I think you can speak to Roland. He'll give you ideas on that waste to water, right?
Yes,
so
I think we could say that it's three birds with one stone. You know, we reduce the waste and reduce greenhouse gas emissions and produce water. So it's all benefit.
It's a great solution indeed for those countries that have problems with water. Resumindo, então, o Reda do WTRT Canadá, ele comenta do papel crítico do Waste to Energy para se atingir as metas de reduções de emissões no Canadá. E com relação ao futuro da tecnologia, ele ressalta duas soluções interessantes. Uma delas, a utilização, a produção de hidrogênio para abastecimento de caminhões, de frotas e redução das emissões do transporte em geral, né? Ele menciona também o problema de países com grande seca, com problema de abastecimento de água, que tem que buscar a água no mar e fazer uma dessalinização, né? Então, nesses países, você poderia também utilizar o resíduo para gerar energia, e energia abastecer, seja ela vapor ou seja eletricidade, utilizar numa planta de dessalinização, né, para purificar a água. Então, uma solução também bastante interessante. Thank you very much, Reda, for our interesting point of views. So now we are going to ask Andrea Chernobylski. So what's your vision for the future of energy recovery in this context of circular economy, please?
I think this is a very interesting question. We always think about how it's going to be the future, not only for the waste to energy, but as a civilization, right? So we know for a fact that any community, any from small civilization to big civilizations to big municipalities, where we have people, we will generate waste, and time by time even more, and we will need energy, and time by time more renewable energy, even more. And that was accelerated even by the coronavirus pandemic. People are requesting a kind of more sustainable world for us to live, right? And if we take an observation on what is happening with the world, we are seeing two big revolutions, in my opinion. The fourth industrial revolution, which is going towards electric cars, Internet of Things, electric drones, electric appliances, automation of the plants and the industries, and that will require more and more renewable energy. And in the other hand, we have the sustainable revolution as well, that was kicked off by UN with the Paris Agreement, right? And people are getting more and more concerned about how we are making our world a better world to live. Okay, so if we put all those aspects, macro aspects of waste to energy sector, and I would like to add another comment. I heard about the utopia about getting zero waste to landfill. I am one of the 20 members, scientist members of a European Commission activity, and we are studying how to recover anything from ashes as well. So we are in 20 scientists, and we are evaluating projects, new technologies that European Union is going to invest to achieve this zero waste to landfill. But more than this utopia of getting zero waste to landfill, I think the bigger, even more utopia is to get selective collection in small municipalities, poor countries, because the selective collection doubles the cost of the municipality. Okay, so this is a fact. You need to double the trucks. You need to double the labor driving and collecting. Recyclable material cannot be pressed too much inside the trucks. So you increase the volume and you lower the weight. So you will require more capex, more OPEX in the municipalities. And the poor municipalities, the small municipalities, I doubt they will be able so soon to create this kind of selective system of collection. So again, the only way we can promote circular economy, and I believe not even the circular economy, a more sustainable world, the only way we can make it happen is through waste to energy solutions, is through waste to energy innovation. Where there will be people, there will be waste generation. And we saw that in Brazil in the last 20 years, we increased the waste generation by over 20%. Even with all the crises, all the economical crises we passed in the last 20 years, we are always increasing the waste generation. And so where there will be people, there will be waste generation. Where there will be people, there will be renewable energy requirement. Otherwise, we will not be able to develop the society itself. I just came back from Somalia, and 60% of the population does not have energy. They do not have landfills. So it's the draw in Somalia is the worst in the last maybe 100 years. So the dump sites are getting themselves burned, so that they are making a lot of toxic smoke. They do not have electricity, and maybe a simple waste to energy solution over there would help Somali people to develop themselves. They do not have refrigerators. They do not have anything there. So this is the only possible solution I can see to develop the society in a more sustainable way.
Thank you, André. on the utopia comment, well, I think zero waste production, that I think that's an utopia, but to landfill, eventually not, because using waste to energy, you can divert up to, let's say, 96% of inert waste, no-inert waste from landfill. So you would have just the flue gas treatment residues to somehow try to recycle them. So that would be much easier, but what those associations fighting waste to energy, what they keep using as zero waste phrases for zero waste production even. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my interpretation. Also to landfill, I think we are not too far from that. So let's go to our... Acho que eu tenho que traduzir aqui antes, né? Desculpem. Então, os comentários do André, né? Essa tendência de crescimento da população, que só faz aumentar a quantidade de resíduos sólidos urbanos, e de consumo de energia, né? Então, inclusive, ele menciona essa aceleração durante a pandemia e dessa demanda por um mundo mais sustentável e essa revolução, a quarta revolução industrial que a gente está vivendo, né? E menciona essa necessidade de se ter mais energia renovável. Isso dentro do contexto atual, com o Acordo de Paris, dentro de todo esse novo ambiente que a gente está vivendo, ele acredita que vai haver mais e mais demanda por esse tipo de energia, que ele acredita ser a única solução no desenvolvimento tecnológico e inovações através do Waste to Energy para o desenvolvimento de uma sociedade mais sustentável, devido aos outros problemas com outros tipos também de tratamento. Ele acredita que o Waste to Energy é a única solução. Thank you very much, André. So now we are closing our panel with Joseph Imp. Could you please share with us your thoughts on the future of energy recovery in the context of circular economy, please, Joseph?
Yes, sure. But what can I say after this really many important, relevant, and very clever informations, and from hiring people too, and very well experienced people too. So I tried to summarize from my side a little bit how would my vision be, and I think in respect of the economy and of the environment. So this is fitting very easily, very nicely together. I hope we understand much more better that waste is in value in the future for energy purposes, for sure. This is for sure one of the most important issues, but there will be other parts for reuse purposes, which will be quite interesting too. Yeah. On the other hand, I think we have to look for closed circles, and the closed circle for me would be the energy use too. Yeah. After collecting, and I hope that with all these activities, we are capable to reduce worldwide the relevant emissions, that we will maybe not reach 0% or something like that, but that we do it in a form that we get it under control, and so are protecting in the future time our environment and having enough energy. So this would my best guess and wish for the future and for all of us.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Então, resumindo, essa é uma solução que, de fato, representa o futuro, né? E ele acredita que a tendência é que cada vez mais as emissões sejam reduzidas e cada vez mais se recupere mais materiais. So I would like to thank you all the panelists, for this very valuable contribution, and I really hope to count on your presence on our next event. Let's see when. Thank you very much, all of you, Roland, Peter, Reda, André, and Joseph.
Thank you.
So now I will bring the...
It's greetings from Austria and Finland. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. So now I will go back to PC. PC, por favor, continue.
Muito obrigado, Flávio. Nossos agradecimentos em nome do Grupo FRG Mídias e Eventos e da ABREN. Muito obrigado, senhor Roland Gray, gerente sênior de vendas da Hitachi Zosen Inova. E eu quero aqui convidar todos os nossos amigos internautas para visitar o estande da feira virtual da Hitachi Zosen Inova. Basta clicar abaixo do nosso chat aqui e acompanhar as novidades, ok? Muito obrigado, senhor Roland. Obrigado, senhor Peter Kurt, presidente da FEAD BDE da Alemanha. Senhor Reda M. Kabaji, muito obrigado também pela presença conosco. Chair of West2 Energy do Canadá. Senhor André Chernobilski, da CEO, ele que é CEO da ZEG Ambiental. Também estou convidando aqui todos os internautas que estamos acompanhando neste momento para visitar o estande na nossa feira virtual, na feira virtual do evento, e acompanhar as novidades da ZEG Ambiental aqui. Muito obrigado, André, pela presença conosco. Senhor Joseph Impe, né, que é da Tanaoi e Máquina Solo, também faço o convite aqui a todos os amigos internautas para acompanharem aqui a feira virtual, a nossa feira do evento, e também as novidades no estande da Tanaoi e Máquina Solo. Muito obrigado, Flávio, que foi o moderador, né, desse painel brilhante, o painel internacional, nosso Flávio Matos, conselheiro da ABREN e coordenador da Waste to Energy Brasil, ele que está falando também direto de Paris, na França. Eu só quero lembrá-los que nós temos, neste momento, pessoas conectadas em todo o Brasil e no mundo, como, por exemplo, tem gente nos acompanhando agora na Eslovênia, na Itália, na Alemanha, na Suíça, na França, na Espanha, em Portugal, no Marrocos, né, onde está o Mr. Reda, tem gente nos acompanhando também, na República Dominicana, nos Estados Unidos, na Colômbia, no Equador, no Chile e também na Argentina. Eu lembro que o Fórum Valorização Energética de Resíduos, realizado 100% de forma virtual, aborda os principais temas da valorização energética de resíduos no Brasil e no mundo, como abordamos aqui neste debate, neste painel. Durante o evento, se você, amigo internauta, tiver alguma dúvida ou pergunta para algum dos nossos palestrantes, dos nossos participantes, é só utilizar o nosso chat e compartilhar a sua experiência. Abaixo do chat, como eu já falei, é só você clicar no banner e ir diretamente para a nossa feira virtual. E queremos lembrar ainda que você pode acessar todo o nosso conteúdo através do canal do YouTube do Grupo FRG. Acesse e se inscreva ao canal Grupo FRG. Convido-os a conferir a primeira edição da West Energy Magazine, a revista de energia de resíduos que tem artigos, entrevistas e muito mais. É só acessar o www.energywestmagazine.com. Ok? Lembramos a todos que o conteúdo geral do evento será disponibilizado para vocês acessarem todo este conteúdo a partir da semana que vem. As informações estarão disponíveis no site da ABREN, que é o www.abren.org.br. Senhores, nosso muito obrigado a todos. Estamos encerrando o debate sobre o tema Circular Economy in the Context of Energy from Waste. Na sequência, seguiremos com a nossa programação e o painel Modalidades de Financiamentos de Usinas. Muito obrigado a todos. Grupo FRG Mídias e Eventos, faça parte desta história.